Welcome back to a Total War Saga Troy. Now, as you have all been following the progress of this campaign, I have enjoyed playing this so far, but I must admit that I'm not too happy with certain of the choices that I've done, and nor am I too happy with the faction that I'm playing. I'm kind of stuck down here, and while I would like to see what this antagonist realm divide-ish mechanic will involve, I'm wondering if it might be better to do that in a different campaign. Both for my enjoyment, because at the current stage, I'm kind of worrying that I will feel like this is not a dredge to play, but like, I would rather do that than this. And if it's one thing that I'm very certain about, it's that it would be very noticeable to you guys if I'm not enjoying what I'm doing as much as I should be doing. Like when I've been playing the Total War Warhammer 2 campaigns, I very deliberately paused in the final episodes of my Imric campaign because there was so much leveling up of the heroes and agents that I had, and so much provinces that I had to manage that each turn took quite a while. And while I enjoy that, like I really do like the administrator aspect of the Total War games, and I like leveling up the heroes, I deliberately paused that in those episodes because I don't think it's very fun to watch me literally level up the heroes the same way each and every one of them. Now that isn't the worry that I'm having here. The worry that I'm having here is that there are other factions that I would like to try to play instead of Lycia, because I'm not really that thrilled with this trade war epic mission here, because heavens know when I might be able to do this, since I am completely dependent upon two other factions, or at least one faction that I have both knowledge of and influence enough with that I can actually do some of these actions. And as you can see currently, yes, we have Ithaca, who does have a barter agreement available for 7 turns. But I don't have any influence with them. Well, I do have 9%, but it's not enough. And the only way that I can spread my influence is by trading with them. And I don't know how much influence I need to have with them. It might be enough to have 10%. I'm not sure. If so, it's kind of silly that I want to end the campaign here, because then it's probably a matter of just trading with Ithaca 1 or 2 times. However, I'm at war with them. So, then again, the only option that I would have with Ithaca at the moment is...
Well, I suppose we can hope that words may avert
peace.
Further bloodshed.
I could do a single barter with them, but the only thing literally that I can do is try to get a peace treaty. And since this button... there. Since this button isn't available, make it work, it means that I don't have enough resources or anything that I can give them that would enable me to achieve a peace treaty with them. Now the realm divide mechanic, I don't think it was present in... Well, yes, it is. It is present in Total War Warhammer as well. In number 1, it's present in terms of the Chaos Invasion, and that also goes for the Mortal Empires campaign style in Warhammer 2. And of course in the Vortex campaign, it's the Vortex itself that is the Realm Divide mechanic. Here, the mechanic is what has just happened. We get an antagonist faction. I'm not sure if it's a random selection between the opposing Achaean factions. At this specific point, it was Sparta. It might be the most powerful of them. I mean, Sparta has strength rank 1 now, while we are strength rank 4. So it might be the faction that has the highest strength ranking of the Achaeans that becomes the antagonist, well, of the 4 major Achaean factions, that is, which would be Sparta, Ithaca, Mycenae, and the final one I don't even remember. Not that it really matters. And I guess that opposite way around, if you play one of the Achaean factions, it's probably Hector, Dardania, Paris, or Sarpedon that becomes the antagonist faction once you reach a certain level of Imperium. And for those who are not familiar with what Imperium means, I noticed that this happened on turn 75. That might be a coincidence, because I also did gain more provinces, but it might be that it happens on turn 75, period. But if it is Imperium, that is the reason for why that happened. The Imperium, it isn't visible here anywhere, I think. Where's my ledger here? Imperium would be the amount of settlements owned. And since I am at 29, that does make me even more suspicious that it is actually flat on turn 75, but I'm not sure. I could start a campaign on normal difficulty, because I kind of feel that what we've been doing so far has been quite easy. Then again, the faction that I would like to play if I start a new campaign is Paris of Troy. And why would I want to start as Paris of Troy? Well, the reason for that is, as you guys who have followed the campaign have noticed, I have a strong preference towards ranged units. And Paris of Troy, he's hard. But
a lover, not a fighter.
Yes. The playstyle of Paris is ranged superiority. You get the Trojan nobles, which is a medium infantry, and I can. This I can hear. Shoot while moving. That is very, very, very good. Any unit that can skirmish and shoot while moving, those are among my favorite units. For comparison, my 2 favorite factions in Total War Warhammer 2 are the Skaven and the Dwarves. The Skaven, because they have the weapon teams, which are just amazing, and the Dwarves, they have probably, not just probably, they have the most powerful artillery in the game. I've noticed that in the Total War community, or especially within the established Warhammer part of that community, there has been some grumbling about how the Dwarven faction needs to be reworked so that it gets more up to speed with the other revamped factions. But I still enjoy the Dwarves quite a bit, because I love the artillery unit, the ranged units. I also enjoy playing as the Empire in Total War Warhammer 2, which is also a ranged heavy faction, but more balanced than the Skaven and the Dwarves, because both the Skaven and the Dwarves, the ranged units are what basically makes and breaks your campaign. Then again, you also have the other factions over here, the Greek factions.
I burn the brightest.
Achilles probably would be my least favorite factions of these. He does have a lot of units in his roster, and most of these units are flanking experts, and flanking is also quite fun, actually. So I might actually enjoy Achilles. His starting position is a bit awkward, but I think I might enjoy Achilles now that I think about it. Agamemnon.
Only the strongest survive.
He has got an easy starting position, but he will quickly run up against Athena, which is a rather large faction. But I did play Agamemnon before I recorded anything. I tried Agamemnon, and his faction abilities, the lion's share, which is to entice or force other factions to become your vassals. And then they will give you tribute and so forth. That wasn't really for me. And his units are, well, outright boring. I didn't like them at all. He's got a balanced and good army. It's not that, but it's just not my kind of playstyle. Even though he has the most balanced among the Achaeans roster. Odysseus.
Silver-tongued Odysseus.
He's got a hard starting situation. He's got a coastal mastery, and he can use his agents to make, or rather the spies, to make safe haven buildings, which can then recruit units in regions that have safe havens. His faction does have units that appeal to me. Ambushers, guerrilla stalkers, they have the both the vanguard deployment, the hide deployment. They can snipe, which means that they remain hidden while firing, like the harpies do. He's got an interesting starting position, so he might be interesting to play. And then you have...
vengeance will shake the world.
Yes, then you have Menelaus. Of course, as the king of Sparta, his army naturally focuses on the heavily armored infantry, axe champions, heroic axe warriors, and then you use the effective slingers for preemptive strikes. Still not a bad faction. None of them are really, but Paris is the one that has most natural appeal to me. The one thing that I am a bit worried with when it comes to Paris, though, is Helen. As you can see here, you have to move Helen between settlements to keep her close to Paris. When she arrives, this is celebrated by the local populace. But the thing here is that Paris and Helen, they are happy when they are together, and that will affect their respective army and settlement positively. But if they're apart, they will grow lonely, and that will also affect their respective army and entire faction negatively. So Helen is kind of like a special, I don't know if you could call it a unit, but when you play as Paris, let's just start the campaign and I'll show you. We are. So here you go. Paris is now happy because they are close to one another. This gives plus 8% to morale of all units and minus 15% to upkeep. You could become heroic, which further reduces the upkeep and increases the morale. But furious, that's actually interesting. Lonely gives less morale. Gloomy gives even... The gloomy is actually the worst one. The middle one is the worst one. Furious is if she's captured. So that actually is a... Even if it's red, it's actually a positive thing. But I don't know if you get a time limit or something if she's captured. But she's kind of like a special unit in terms of... You can see here. This settlement is Helen's current residence. The faction that controls this settlement also holds Helen. I'm not sure how to move her around, but I guess it is here. So we could move her to column A. I think I just... No. I would send the invitation, and preparations will be costly and take time and so forth. You can invite her to a feast. You can invite her to okay. That's how it works. Gathering for prayer, demonstration of skill, and a grand feast. And there we go with the other thing. So happy means that you get growth and happiness bonuses. Gloomy, you lose 6 happiness in a province, and lonely, you lose 10 happiness faction-wide. I can see why Paris's faction is considered hard to play. And if Paris and Helen remain apart, she will become gloomy in 4 turns. And then the question is how many more turns it is before she is lonely. So there's a balancing act here between where you have Helen and where you have Paris, because if you want to go to war with Greece or the Achaean factions, preferably you'd want to have Helen here, or maybe even behind here in some hidden away settlement, but then she would grow gloomy and lonely because Paris would be somewhere over here. So you would almost have to move Helen over here to keep her happy, and yeah. Kind of. It seems like an interesting mechanic, that. So I'm not sure. For now, I think that we'll just end the playthrough, and I'm definitely not done with Troy. I want to play the game and I want to finish it. So I'll take a look at the various factions, and I'll probably start a new playthrough as one of the other factions. The other thing with Lycia is that since you're stuck down here, you saw how I got fractured. My empire got fractured. I had the Amazons between my settlements, and I had to give them even a province to keep them happy. And my intention was to go down here and then further down there and then go here. But when Sparta became my antagonist, Sparta is here. It's pretty close. So yeah, that means I would have to just move on into Sparta. So yes, it would be more action in that campaign, but this area up here just seems like it's more fun to play in, or even in the Greek region. There are a lot more provinces to take, and you don't have this thin belt. I can see why Lycia is considered an easy faction to play, because you're pretty isolated down here. You have no enemies. If you have captured these provinces, you only have one front to worry about, and of course the sea. But then, as soon as you've captured the island of Rhodes, then there really isn't very many avenues. They would be coming in from the west, period. Whereas if, for instance, we were playing as Phthia, or Phthia, you would have the worries of the Trojans on that side, but also the factions that are non-aligned, which reside in here. And I know that Phthia is in a position that is rather precarious, because when I played as Menelaus, Phthia was eliminated by turn 10 or something, to my amusement. So yeah. Also, there was a day 1 patch, and that patch, there is no patch notes for it, so I don't know what the patch has changed, but because they were very, very stressed. There were bugs that they wanted to get out, of course, for the launch day. And Creative Assembly, as most other developers, of course, are working under the less than ideal restrictions that many companies are working under these days, with people working from home. probably lots of video conferencing and so forth. And I can imagine that developing a game on this magnitude is rather difficult when you don't have the luxury of being in your usual workplace. Of course, that's just speculation on my end, but I strongly suspect that that's the case. So I can understand that the developers didn't have time to get the patch notes out immediately. They will be coming, that I know, but at least I haven't seen them yet. So yeah. Anyways, I hope that you enjoyed the playthrough so far. I would... those patch things, they don't apply retroactively to a save game. That I forgot to say that. So that is why I would like to also to start a new game as well, so I could get the benefits of that patch. Because I can continue, but the things that they've patched, some of those things do not apply to the save game that I have. And since I don't know what those patches are, I don't know if it's critical or minor things. It might very well be very important things like balancing maintenance of units or something, balancing the income of the resources and so forth. So yeah, maybe I would have been able to field 4 armies for all I know at the stage we were at, instead of 3. I don't know, to be honest. So yeah. But for now, thank you all so much for following the campaign, and as you all know, I prefer to finish my campaigns, so I am sorry, and I do apologize to those of you who wanted to see the end of that particular campaign, but rest assured there will be a complete playthrough of Troy, either as a Trojan or a Greek, or maybe even both sides on the channel, but it won't be this specific Lycian playthrough that I have been playing. So thank you all so much for following the campaign, and I will see you all in another series, and take care of yourselves.